Hi everyone. So I think we have managed to go live on YouTube also now. Okay. So can you guys hear me clearly? Just write yes in the chat. Do introduce yourselves. Tell me who all have joined me today. I would love to know. Hi Jessica. Hi Nazam, Meera Agarwal, Sanskriti. Okay. Please introduce yourselves. What do you do? Where are you logging in from? Hi Kshitij. How are you doing? How are you doing? Good to have you here with me today also. Yes, please share your LinkedIn profiles, Twitter profiles, connect with each other, right? You all have similar interests. Hi, Meera, seeing you here for the first time, I think. What about others? Have you attended my sessions before? If you have attended before, write the number of time you have attended. Hi, Pranav. You can write 2, 3, 5, 10, 10 plus, however number of times you have attended. And those who are attending for the first time can write 0. Okay, so I'll know that you are attending for the first time. Hi, Lakshmi. Hi, Urvashi. Hi, Jagannath. So good to see all of you here today again. All right. So today's topic is hard for me to talk about, honestly. It's it's something it was like depression is never easy to face, never easy to talk about, never easy even for you guys to attend and listen to it, right? And um, so keeping that in mind, let's get started with today's discussions. Okay. So, how many of you take care of your physical health? Do you take care of your physical health? Yes, no, maybe. Do you take care of your physical health ever? Yes. No. Why don't you take care of your physical health, Sanskriti? Hi, Durgesh Nandini. Okay. So, still, we try to take care of your physical health, whether we are able to or not. At least people have some, idea that they have to take care of their physical health. How many of you actually take care of your mental health? Do you take care of your mental health? Nazam is like, yes. Okay. Do you do something specifically to take care of your mental health? Law is not allowing me. Okay, if law allowed you, what will you do to take care of your mental health? How will you take care of your mental health? Nobody is saying anything, all quiet. Okay, so this truly is a big issue, and many of us deal with this issue a lot. So let's take a look at this. It's a very important discussion today. We're going to talk about. I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience and a little bit about why lawyers and law students tend to face depression and some things you need to know about. I think if you are a lawyer, you can almost expect to face, I mean, it's better that you're prepared to face depression at some point of time in your life because it could happen anytime. At least, if not depression, you can face hardships and difficulties which leads to complexities in your mental health issues. So if it is not a question of if, it's pretty much a question of when, and you should be prepared. Okay. And some studies say that 10% of the general population at any time is suffering from depression. Lawyers are more prone to depression. As per American Bar Association, lawyers are 3.6 times as likely to be depressed as people in other jobs. A landmark 2016 American Bar Association and Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation study found that 28% of licensed employed lawyers suffer from depression in USA. We don't know exactly what it is in India because Indian Bar Council of India never has done any such study. The study also showed that 19% have symptoms of anxiety and 20% of lawyers are problem drinkers. And by the way, you would realize in such a study, this is based on self-reporting, right? So people may not report or may not even realize that they have a problem. And I'll tell you why people often don't realize they have a problem. So why are lawyers highly likely to face depression? So I was going through some articles online and I came across a really very good resource where lawyers have shared their perspective on why lawyers face and are more prone to depression, more prone to mental health illness, and so on. So one is perfectionism and high expectations. Okay, how many of you are perfectionists and you want to be perfect? You have very high ambition, you have very high expectation from yourself. Do you have that? Yeah, right. So this is good to have. This will cause you to have good success in life. But it is the same thing that can also cause depression, can cause mental health issues. So it's a double-edged sword. Perfectionism and high expectations will make you a great lawyer. Yeah. But all at the same time, there are issues. What are these issues? So let's just read this quote. I think there are large bases for the prevalence of depression and substance abuse in the legal industry is self-selecting. Okay, so people who are prone to depression and substance abuse also get into the legal profession in large numbers. Lawyers tend to be driven perfectionists. You are driven people, right? We are driving ourselves to do well, to do good stuff, do hard work. What not everybody wants to be like, well, nobody wants to work this hard. Like very few people in the world want to work this hard as lawyers have to work to succeed, right? Do you think law is an easy profession, easy money, easy everything? No, right? You know it very well that it is a hard profession. There is a lot of success, there's a lot of money, many things, right? But you knowingly that it's a challenging, hard profession, you have chosen it. Why? You are the kind of people who are driven. Okay, so lawyers tend to be perfectionists, which is often why they entered such a difficult profession. The demands of clients and supervising attorneys tend to exacerbate what in most instances is a pre-existing issue. Okay, so this is a lawyer from New Hampshire has said this. Then another issue is always imagining the worst, as it is our job, always on guard. So if you're a lawyer, you have to always think what can go wrong, right? You are like playing chess in your head, imagining different situations in which the client will get into trouble, what problems can arise when the other side will do something that we haven't thought of. Isn't that the job of a lawyer all the time, right? So you are imagining the worst in your head and you're preparing for the worst all the time and you're always on the guard. So somebody has beautifully explained this, 𝗂𝗵𝗆𝗀𝗀, right? So he's saying lawyers must constantly scan the horizon, trying to predict the next threat or catastrophe. They constantly ask the question, what's the worst thing that could happen? As a result, lawyers are in permanent fight or flight mode, constantly on the guard. And also, lawyers have nothing to sell but their time and advice. They are not cranking out widgets. They can't make more time. As their workload grows, something has to give. First, it's vacations, then weekends, then evenings, then family and friends. This is what is happening to a lot of lawyers, right? And this is also another lawyer, a shareholder at Tiffany and Bosco in Phoenix, okay, has said this. Then another challenge, dealing with uncertainty all the time. As a lawyer, if it is certain, then probably clients will not come to you, and you are dealing with all kinds of uncertainty in your own career, of your clients' matters. Everywhere there is uncertainty all the time. Lawyers wear a bullseye on their back. Many lawyers start their legal careers with crushing debt. How many of you are studying on education loan, right? Zero clients and uncertainty about their future. Law students face insurmountable odds and can be depressed even before they step foot out of law school. Also, lawyers have to have an elephant's hide, the courage of a martyr, and the patience of a saint. We are not trained for this. James Gray Robinson, right? From Oregon. Okay. Are you guys realizing what I'm saying? What these guys are saying? Are you realizing? Are you with me? What do you guys think? Do you think this guy is exaggerating? Do you think he's saying something that's untrue? Lawyers have to have an elephant's hide, the courage of a martyr, and the patience of a saint. We are not trained for this. Okay? And this is true. It's not easy being a lawyer, right? Always being on, never switching off. You never get to switch off if you're a lawyer. Being a lawyer is about solving people's problems, being arrested, getting a divorce, having a business dispute, and so on. We make our clients' problems into our problems, add in the worry of being a bill collector, because you have to also run your business, you have to get your money from people, right? So that you can pay your employees or pay yourself, pay your bills. And managing an office, the stress can be crushing. 𝗪𝗍𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃, founder of another law firm. I think I skipped something by mistake. This is about always being switched on. I think technology has made the profession of law more anxiety and depression inducing. Emails, text, cell phone calls, there is no escape. At night or early in the morning, your phone or PDA now doesn't exist. Personal, that is your phone is beeping, dinging or ringing. Then on weekends, your clients are emailing or texting. To make matters worse, in the techno world in which we live, clients, colleagues, and opposing lawyers expect an immediate answer. Sometimes mere minutes are too long because there is no break and no respite. There is no release for the constant pressure. Taken to an extreme, there is no hope. This can push lawyers over the edge. Right? Then you have to make the problem of others your own. This is what I said earlier by 𝗪𝗍𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃, right? You are always at war and you will suffer trauma. If you are at war, you suffer trauma. Now see what a lawyer who has actually been in combat duty is saying about lawyering. As a practicing litigation attorney and a former enlisted Marine, the pressure, stress, and mental toll of practicing law compares to my combat experience. This is a very intellectually and times physically demanding job. I was once told litigation is not for everyone, and that's definitely true. How many of you wanted to be a soldier someday? It is no, if you are thinking that, soldiers are standing in Siachen or standing in the border, they're having such a difficult time. If anybody tells you that, tell them that lawyers have it no easier. Okay. As a solo practitioner in one of the most stressful areas of law, I can see why depression, anxiety, and substance abuse would be so prevalent, just like maybe among combat veterans. People who have combat veterans are people who have seen war, as in the military, right? Part of it may be the many lawyers may not have a way to release the stress of knowing that the outcome of their actions will affect the lives, even the freedom of their clients. Gustavo Mayen. This is our own Justice Chandrachud. Lawyers' job can often be very stressful, and thus the lawyers are prone to addiction and struggle with the mental health issues like depression, both at the higher rates than general population. At least somebody from Indian legal fraternity has acknowledged that there's a problem. So Jessica, the other previous point you want to see, okay? This is the point. Being a lawyer is about solving people's problems, being arrested, getting a divorce, having a business dispute. You're making the problems of others your own. Okay. Hi Rishabh, how are you doing? Okay. So, you might think that I'm just a law student. I mean, I understand if lawyers have to deal with this, but as a law student, why will I have to deal with such stress and such kind of mental health issues? The truth is that even as a law student, you will probably face this. Okay, one is perfectionism. Okay, like many of you already said that you are a perfectionist, and it is very common trait for lawyers to be a perfectionist. Okay, laughable comic. Okay, so are you a perfectionist? Competition. How many of you are very competitive? You want to win at all costs. You don't like to be second, you don't like to be third, you want to be the first, you want to be the best. How many of you are competitive? Yep. Okay, and which is good. Your competitiveness gave you many success in life. You work harder because you're competitive, right? You are always trying to learn more than others because you're competitive. You are ready to work more than others because you're competitive. You have a drive to succeed, but it's the same thing that also can cause mental health issues. Okay, do you deal with uncertainty? The truth is that there is nothing completely certain in life, especially if you want to succeed. Then you have to make risk your friend, you have to make uncertainty your friend, and then only you'll be able to take the opportunities that can change your life. Then only you'll be able to do things which really matter. If you want to avoid uncertainty, if you want to avoid all the risks, then you have to play small. You have to sit at home. You have to avoid the big projects, right? So how many of you are comfortable with uncertainty, comfortable with risk? Yeah. Are you comfortable with uncertainty? Do you often find yourself in situations where there is risk, where there is uncertainty, and you're ready to fight it out to get your way? Yes, no, maybe. Write in the chat. High risk, high rewards. But that means you also have to deal with that high risk. Okay? And uncertainty over future constantly, continuously, and dealing with high risk situations all the time takes a toll on you. Lack of clear pathways to succeed. How many of you do not have a clear pathway to succeed? Okay, think of it. In law school, it's not only there is competitiveness, it's not only that there is uncertainty. Okay, you are putting in effort, you don't know what will happen in the future, what will happen when you graduate. Will you get a job or not? Will you get the internship or not? And all the time you are disappointed with something or the other, you keep trying, even then it happens to you, right? But sometimes you're like, what do I do to succeed? Whatever am I doing, whatever I have been doing is not working. I'm not getting results. I'm not even getting internships. How will I get a job? Some people are blissfully unaware. They forget. They are trying to forget it. They're trying to avoid these real questions. But some people are not like that. They are smarter than that. And they are asking themselves these questions, and they are thinking about these questions, which is great, because if you're thinking about it, you'll probably find a solution, you'll probably find an answer. But many people completely avoid it. But those of you who are not avoiding it and facing the question, there is also a mental toll, there is a price you pay for that. Okay, why? When it is, when you deal with that uncertainty, when you deal with those questions, that what's going to happen to me, how am I going to succeed, these are very important. So if you are going to be successful, this is important trait, right? But you are going to deal with all this lack of clear pathways to succeed. How many of you feel that you don't have a clear pathway from here to success? Do you feel that way? Do you even think about that? Be honest. Type in the chat. So do you think that has a negative impact on your psyche, on your mental health? Surely there is a pressure, right? Maybe you're dealing with it fine, maybe you are not struggling, but there is an impact. We need to be careful. There is a lot more. I just have listed a few things. I'm going to tell you some of the things that caused depression for me, my story, right? So you ready to hear my story? Yes. One thing, guys, if you have a choice not to listen to this, right? If you feel that I will describe my story, I don't know, I've never heard of a trigger warning for this, but I am giving you a trigger warning. If you feel that you don't want to hear this story, don't hear this. If you feel that listening to this will cause you some harm, okay, and I am in no position to know that or advise you that, but if you think there is even a little chance that it can trigger you in some way, then do not listen to it, okay? Then just go away. It's okay, you don't have to hear my every webinar, right? But if you feel that you are mentally stable enough to hear a story, then stick on, okay? So anybody wants to leave, you can say bye now and leave. Anybody wants to leave? Yes, no? Great. So let's move on. So, but you are taking a consent, you have thought about it and you are deciding to stick on. So I was in NUJ's second year. This must have been 2007-8. Okay. And I found myself not having the will to get out of my room to attend classes or to get a meal. Okay. So it's like I am in my bed, I'm lying down, and I don't want to get up and get out of my room. And my room is a mess. I don't want to clean it. I don't want to fix it. I have lost any interest in self care. I stopped talking to people around me. Okay. I want to avoid any conversations. I have no energy or interest in talking to anyone. I stopped taking care of myself. I don't want to take a bath. I don't want to get clean clothes. I don't even care about anything, right? I would want to sleep all the time because sleep felt like an escape. All my problems, kind of, I get a small escape from it when I sleep. I was still doing my coursework fine, right? I was keeping up a brave face, attending classes. I used to miss a lot of classes in the morning, especially, but I used to drag myself to the class somehow, sit through the class, try to participate in the class even, but I didn't want to like speak in the class all the. I mean, earlier I used to really be active in class, and that time I just wanted to keep quiet, sit quietly in a corner. Didn't want to talk to anyone in the class. I was suffering with no end in sight. Okay, I didn't know how this will get over, how this will end, right? So, why did it happen? I was finding it hard to adjust socially, right? So it's a new environment, lot of people out there. It's a different, living in a hostel. It's like a small community of people with a lot of, 300, 400 people living on campus. And I was finding it really hard to adjust with this environment, with this social environment. A lot of people around me were highly judgmental. They would judge me on things like, oh, you are from a small town, you cannot speak English properly, or you dress weird, you don't know how to dress. So, and some things they will say upfront, some things will be very through a snide remark or comments, right? I shared how I would not say somebody celebrating a birthday party, they won't invite me, and maybe they were not even thinking much about it, but I felt hurt by the fact that people I considered my friends are not inviting me to their birthday party or so on, right? I kept going. I mean, paid no heed to it as such. Like I was trying to keep a brave face, but internally I felt that I was not being accepted by my peers. Struggling with English because I was for the first time in an English medium college. I was in vernacular medium till then, studying in Bengali for exams, writing exams, everything. Suddenly I had to do everything in English, and I was speaking really broken English, but I was trying to do it. Something that happened interesting, I want to tell you a story. I was in college and I was doing a moot. And I thought, okay, let's do a moot. In second year, I submitted a memo, and I went to that moot round, and there was another student who was a senior. Now he's a partner in a big law firm. He basically bullied me in the session. Sure, I was not very good, but he insulted me, he humiliated me, and he told me to get out of the moot court. Okay. And I mean, it's okay if I probably wasn't good and he could, you know, just give me low score or whatever, but he humiliated me and it felt terrible, right? And it was a standard experience, really. Like, you know, a lot of times seniors were unkind, teachers were very unkind. Some teachers were very kind, very supportive, others were very unkind. Batchmates would be very cruel. And I understand, like, you know, when people are in college, they don't have that maturity to deal with people from different backgrounds. Some of them might have, and it's just like representative of how the world is. It's not like college was especially bad or NUJS was especially like that. I don't think that way anymore. I think that it is how the world is. And even then I was not thinking that, oh, I'm in a bad place or anything. I was focusing on what I can change about myself. My academic performance was below my expectations. I've shared about this before, because I was hoping to top in the class, but I was not able to break in top 10 for a while. And I was studying very hard, but still I was studying for hours and still not make. So initially I studied, and later on I was just like losing hope and didn't see a way. So it was terrible. I had no social life. I felt disconnected from my environment. This is a big thing. I have noticed that when I'm not connected with other people, when I'm not socially engaged, these things can happen to me. I'm surrounded by a lot of highly competent, intimidatingly successful people. So in NUJS, it was like you turn a corner and you meet another person who was a state blah blah champion, or is great at chess, or is a quizzing winner, or like, probably will get the Rhodes Scholarship, or got into a foreign law firm already, and in their fourth year, and so on. And people who have won moots, and like everyone is like very successful. And you actually, that is how I was feeling that time, but not everyone is that successful. Like, anyway, you will find people who are highly competitive, highly driven, all the time working for things, and they are getting success. And it can be a very intimidating environment to be in. I had a breakup at the end of the first year, and I was dating somebody outside college. And when the breakup happened, I felt terrible. And that further caused a lot of mental disturbance. Okay. So at some point when I was in my second year, I started to question my self-worth. Okay. Even thoughts of self-harm would come to mind. Okay. Many times, literally I will stand on a balcony and wonder. I mean, I knew I will not do it, but the thought will flash in my mind that what if I just jump off from here, and I would almost back off from there, saying that, oh my god, what am I thinking? And so what saved me from all this? I knew this will pass and I will emerge victorious somewhere inside me, even in the darkest times when I was going through the worst situation. And by the way, it was not happening because of things around me. Later on, I realized that so many other things are connected to it. Your diet, exercise or lack of it, there is so many other factors. But during that time, even in the darkest times, there was something in me that said that this is not my future. This is not, I will not have to live my life doubting my self-worth. I will find a purpose. I just have to go through this, and on the other side of the tunnel there will be a glorious future. Somehow I made myself believe in this, somehow in my mind, that I focused on that I would not have to face this all my life. It is now like this, but I will find a way out of this. And I focused on that thought. I focused on that feeling that this is not permanent, this is just temporary, I will go through this. One day I went for a run. Okay. And I still remember that day very clearly in my mind. I could run just 100 meters and then I was panting like a dog. Okay, because I had no, like physically also, I didn't have much stamina. I ran for 100 meters and then I came back to the hostel. But something happened. I felt different. I was feeling better after that run. Even if for half an hour, 1 hour, I was feeling different. Okay, I was very, exhilarating. Next day I ran more. And this time I started even running faster. First day I ran, I couldn't even run that fast. Second day I started, because I enjoyed running even afterward. So I ran faster. I experienced a runner's high. Okay, I could feel the air whooshing past my ear. I was running fast and this air was going past my ears. And I enjoyed something called a runner's high. I didn't know what it is called, but I could feel amazing and it was euphoria. When you run or do a hard workout, your body can secrete good endorphins that make you feel good. And it has been shown to actually counter feelings of depression or other mental health issues. I didn't know back then. I didn't know I was facing depression. I did not know that I'm actually curing it by running. I had no idea what was happening, right? In fact, I never went to a doctor, so I never was diagnosed with depression formally. Later on, when I spoke to other experts, they said, yes, that must have been, depression, because all the many different signs of depression were present. So they said that, yes, you can perhaps have had a depression. I did not know that running will release endorphins that can help to get out of it. And I had almost more than a year I was suffering from this. But I started running often and that helped. I also started teaching. Yeah, dopamine gets released when you are running. Okay. I also started teaching, where I found a way to help others with a skill set I had. So I knew how to help people to prepare for law entrance, because I had done very well in law entrance. And I could help others on how they can get through to CLAT and so on. And I was very passionate about this. Instead of focusing on myself, it taught me to focus on others, because I was trying to help other people and not worrying about what's happening to me. When you are only thinking about me, it is another way you get into all this bad situation. But when you are thinking about helping others and you are focusing less on yourself, it's one brilliant way of getting out of all this. Okay, bad mental health issues. Then I started volunteering at events. It helped me to find a community. It helped me to find some kind of a purpose and other connect with other people. I experienced how to serve others without any selfish motivation. So being at service of other people, thinking of them and not thinking of yourself only. So you can say running, teaching and volunteering saved my life from those, it maybe I was alive, but it was feeling like, this is not the life worth living and this is not the life I want to live. I got into depression again later in life. This was not the last time that I would face depression. I faced it couple more times. I have been later close to it, but I was better prepared to handle them. What happened is that the first time I was the least experienced and I had no preparation and I had no idea how to deal with depression. So it was easy to just fall into it and not knowing what to do, what is the way out of it, right? And this is also because there is no awareness about mental health in our society or around us. Given the prevalence of depression and mental health issues with law students, there must be some way to make them aware that this is there. I want your help also in this, that you can create awareness around yourself. This video will be available on YouTube. I request you to share this in your WhatsApp groups, because see, like I said, at least 10% of the population anyway is suffering from this. And amongst law students and lawyers, there is a higher prevalence of this. And, I have no commercial motive behind doing this today, and in fact, I'm afraid how these things may affect. I mean, I don't have to be afraid as such, but still, it makes you worried that, am I doing this right? I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm trying to share this with you. And I have tried to do this with mental health expert, not myself, but my team members. I have done webinars with mental health experts, but I wanted to share my story with all of you so that you can be prepared, and you can also notice other people around you suffering. Okay, if you see people who are not taking care of themselves, they are living in a very there is lack of self care. They are disconnecting themselves from their environment. There is some change in their behavior. It may not be that they are just misbehaving with you, or they are just bad people, or they are just lazy. It's not like that. Sometimes they are suffering from mental health issues, and it is just like health issue. If you have a stomach upset, similarly like that, you can have depression or some other mental health issue, and it just requires proper hygiene. It requires proper maybe treatment. It requires taking care of your health. Just the way you'll take care of your physical health, you need to take care of your mental health. And I wish that all of you will be vigilant for yourself and for other people. So I became better equipped to handle later on, right? Because for the first, it was horrible experience. So when I got out of it, I knew I'm out of this. And I wanted to then, learn more about it. And the next time it happened, still it happened. Next time it happened, I was a little mentally better prepared. At least I knew that I need to run, I need to connect with people, I need to get out of this self-imposed exile, and I need to talk to people. So that much I knew, and that helped me next time when this happened. Next time I was working in a law firm, it happened to me again. Then it happened to me again when I was in my own startup. But next time it did not last for long. Maybe it lasted for a month or 2 months. So first time it was more than a year, 1.5 years almost. Then it was maybe a period of 4 months. Next time, not even 1 month. And after that, I have become so self-aware of this that even if it is coming close, I begin to sense it and I start to take action. There is a series of action I will take to prevent myself from going into depression. Because once you go in, it is harder to come out. Okay. You need to sense when you are going downhill, and you need to prevent it then and there. And it is not easy to identify the first time. It may be very high to very hard to identify it even. Okay, so I'll try to tell you how I do this. So our body and mind are very closely connected. There are a lot of physical markers of mental health issues. I do an annual checkup. However, if I feel low, I would check my vitamin B12 and D3 levels. Okay, low vitamin 12, like vitamin B12, if it is low, and most people in our country have a lower level of vitamin B12 unless they are taking supplements, especially those who are vegetarian. And it can be because you have developed inflammation in your body. You might be having lower absorption of vitamin. And vitamin B12 and D3 are very much essential for mental health. Even if everything is fine in your life, if you simply have lower levels of vitamin B12, you are likely to develop mental health issues. Okay. And many times it has happened that colleagues, students who say that, sir, I am not able to focus. Sir, I am facing depression like symptoms. Sir, I am facing this, I am facing that, mental health issues. I am not able to focus, especially. I tell them, please do your vitamin B12 check. And they check, and it turns out they have terribly low levels of vitamin B12 and vitamin D3. Okay, I am not a doctor, but you don't need a doctor's prescription to do a check whether you have adequate vitamin B12 and D3. And it's vitamin, you can take vitamin supplements. I take round the year vitamin B12 and D3 supplements, and I have consulted professionals on how much I can take safely, and I'm always taking this. And even then, there are other tests you need to do throughout the year to see if you have, all the things, or your body is working fine. Diet is very important. Okay, so what you eat will have an impact on your mental health. It's very important to remember. So eating healthy is very important. And if you are facing mental health issues, then you might want to check if you're having the right diet. For example, if I eat gluten, food that contains gluten, it causes inflammation in my body, it slows down my brain, it causes something to my mind that I can't function as well. Okay, and I have noticed this from experience. So I avoid food with gluten. It has certain inflammatory effects on my brain. Exercise is necessary to be in good shape mentally. So if I do not exercise for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, my mental fitness goes down. My brain does not work in the same way, which is why I try to work out every alternative day. And if I am regularly working out, my brain works really well. If you have a mental health issue, you don't have to run necessarily. Even walking has been shown to have great, very good beneficial effect on your brain. But not walking for 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, you have to walk 5, 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers every day to have that kind of beneficial effect. So you need to make time for walking. You can be on the phone whenever you are on the phone, you can walk. I have made it a point that whenever I am phone, and even when I'm doing webinar, you can see I'm standing here. Okay, so instead of sitting down. So exercise is necessary to be in good shape mentally. Whether you have depression, whether you have not have depression, doesn't matter. See, one is depression, the other is being in good shape mentally. So you have to be in good shape. So for that, exercise is absolutely necessary. If you find yourself in toxic situations that regularly trigger you, you need to remove yourself or those people. I don't know what it is for you, but you don't have to live in traumatic. If you're always walking on eggshells, if you're always afraid how somebody will react, those people are causing you mental health issues. Clients, employees, bosses, okay, even your relatives who are having a toxic effect on you, that whenever you are in their company, your self-esteem is harmed. Maybe I have had friends who have a tendency to it's just something they do. They are nasty to people. They are, I don't know, they get satisfied. They have narcissistic personality disorder. So they want to put down other people. Then only they feel good about themselves. If they see that somebody is doing well, they have to make you feel bad about that. Otherwise, they'll not feel good. And such people will have huge negative impact on you. So you don't have to be around such people, right? So if you find yourself in toxic situations and with toxic people who are regularly triggering you, you need to remove yourself for the sake of your mental health. It is just like somebody was slapping you or physically beating you up. You'd know that I cannot be around this person. It's same thing. Somebody is mentally assaulting you. You have to find out. I don't know how to remove. Like, you have to get out of there. Stop interacting with them. Okay. Not being connected. And by the way, it's hard to know. I have known this much later. At some point, I realized that there is a friend that I have thought of as a friend for many years, and still I think as a friend only. But I realized that interacting with him has a very negative impact on my mental health. So I don't interact with him anymore. Not being, even if he says, let's meet, I say, I don't have time. That's it, right? There's no point going beyond that. He's not going to change. I'm not going to change. There's no point. Not being connected with a social environment. This is very important. As human beings, we need to be connected to others. Yeah. We have to be connected to others. We have to feel connected. That's when we feel a purpose in our lives. Okay. So remember how I was feeling disconnected from my college environment. I was not having any peer group there as such with whom I could belong. So you have a need for belonging. So you have to belong somewhere. So one way I could change that was by teaching students. When I was teaching students and I was making a difference to their lives, I felt like I have a purpose, that I am being useful. When I was part of this startup communities, I felt that I have a purpose. I am making a difference. I'm volunteering. I am being at service of other people. So that makes sense. A cluttered, unclear environment, lack of self-care, these are tell-all signs. If you see yourself in cluttered environments, unclear environment, you may want to be in more structured, more clean environments, and you have to see if there is lack of self-care in yourself or others. Then it may be because of mental health issues, probably because of mental health issues. Practicing gratefulness and meditation. Okay, practicing gratefulness, you can read about this. So when you are feeling grateful, it is opposite of depression. It's like you're training your mind to feel positive, feeling grateful for what you have in life. You're training your mind to focus on the good stuff, and it's amazing. Okay, you cannot go wrong with this. If nothing else works, if you simply practice gratefulness all the time, every day, and it will change, everything will change. You'll get out of your depression. And the same thing is that if you feel if you practice meditation, it can have a really, really good impact on your mental health. It's one of my what I go to when things are really bad. I go turn to meditation, and it has always worked. Reading great books full of brilliant ideas. This is another thing that has worked brilliantly for me. Last time I was in depression, I realized this. I started reading a book called 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, and it was like every page I read, there are such brilliant ideas. It sparks something in my mind, and then I stop feeling that way. I feel amazed. I start getting into this world of brilliant ideas. Your brain cannot be excited and depressed at the same time. So excite your brain with amazing ideas, books you love. It can also make a huge change in your brain. Being at service, at being our service. My assistant sometimes decide that I don't know English, he knows it better than me, and starts changing things. It was being at service. Okay, so being at service means that when you are at service of other people, helping others who need your help will always get you out of self-pity and the worst mental health situations. Compassion and purpose are great cures of depression. Okay, have you ever experienced this? Being at service, being a volunteer, helping somebody with their problems, it will make you forget your problem. It will put into perspective that your problem is not so big. Have you ever done this? Have you ever experienced it? Anybody? Yeah, Amulya. Okay, so this is one simple thing. If you are in the worst of worst situation, go help other people and you'll get out of your situation. Okay, it seems my slides are over. So that's it, guys. I just had that to share with all of you today. So what do you guys think? What thoughts are coming to your mind at this point? What are you thinking? How are you going to take care of your mental health in the future? It doesn't matter how smart you are, how sorted you are. Everyone has a mental health, and everyone can have mental health issues. Meditate, very good. But meditation alone may not solve. Imagine you have terribly low vitamin B12 levels and you're meditating. It's like you're swimming against the current. Okay? You are doing the same things that you did to help. Oh, very good. You are doing all these things. And you don't have to be in depression to do these things, right? You can do these things to be at peak mental health, just like you can be in great shape physically. You can be in great shape mentally. And you have to train yourself to be in great shape. That's the whole idea. How can I improve my English? In the month of January, I have planned a series of sessions on how to improve your English. Jyoti. So be there. Watch out for our webinars. And I'm telling you, you'll have difficult times in your life and you might face mental health issues. There is nothing to be unnerved about. Discuss with people who understand mental health issues around you, not people who will panic, not people who will start thinking that you're going mad or something. Talk to people who have an understanding of this. Webinar on farm laws, I already had, Jessica, just check it out on YouTube channel. I have already had how farm laws will impact lawyers. What kind of work will get created for lawyers out of farm laws. I've already done it. Yeah, you can face it in law firms. You can face it even if it is your own company or your own law firm. Wherever there is so much uncertainty, so much at stake, so much risk, so much fight, and you're always on, you're always fighting. These things happen. It's like a combat, right? But this is what it is. To succeed in life, you don't want to have an easy life. You want to fight it out. You want to make something out of your life, right? So it can happen anywhere. Your own home, sure. It can happen at your home. You are not, it is you yourself. You can't escape yourself. Wherever you go, wherever you find yourself, okay, you will be there and you have to deal with yourself. And dealing with yourself is not so easy. And it is said that our worst enemies, often we ourselves are our worst enemy, right? So to do our best, we have to learn how to master our mental health. We have to master our health, and we have to master our mental health. You want to be in peak brain function, right? You have to learn what you eat. That if you want to be in your top brain function, what do you have to eat? Forget anything else. What do you have to eat, right? Doing what causes your brain to function less well? What kind of people have a draining effect on you? Maybe someday you will be strong enough that you can deal with those people also very easily. But it is, if right now you are not so strong, you might as well avoid them. Take care of yourself first. Okay. All right. So be positive always is easy to say, Abhishek, but it is not always possible to be positive. So you have to train your mind to be positive. That's why gratefulness is such a brilliant practice. Yeah. You have to train your mind. Train your mind. It's the hardest thing, but it is the most worthwhile training. Okay. How to not avoid people. So who are the people who need your help? Who can you make a difference to? Who can you help? You don't have to deal with all people out there in the world, but find people who need your help. Start with them. Suggest some books for law students. I have written a list of books you should read as law students. You can just Google my name, Ramanuj Mukherjee suggested law books. It's on my YouTube channel actually. No, it's on my profile on LinkedIn. It's one of my LinkedIn articles. 10 law books every lawyer and law student should read. You can read that. Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone. By the way, you should check out, or if you'd like to keep in touch with me, please join me on Twitter. Right. Forgot to tell you that today. Just a second. I'll share my Twitter profile with all of you. If you're not already connected with me on Twitter, I'd request you to join me on Twitter so we can stay in touch. Okay, I've shared this on YouTube as well. And there are other LawSikho webinars coming up. If you like today's webinar, then there are chances that you'll want to watch the other webinars we have going forward. Here are the links. In fact, there's a particular webinar that I'm doing tomorrow that I want you to attend. Here is the one. Okay, it's on how to leverage LinkedIn and Twitter to create a good professional network. So how many of you would like to attend this webinar on how to make a great professional network using Twitter and LinkedIn? If you want to connect with me on Twitter. Okay. Message me on Twitter or LinkedIn. All right. Thank you everyone for joining me. Really appreciate. Take care. Bye bye. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.